Hey guys, it's JC Theater Yu-Gi-Oh here today, and I'm coming at you with the deck profile I honestly never thought I would do, and that's Battlewasps. Now, originally when I found out that this archetype existed, since I don't watch the anime, I actually found out about its existence through the release or the hype leading up to Battles of Legend, Heroes Revenge. I thought I could care less about this archetype really. It didn't really interest me, and then I sat down and read the cards, the effects, and ultimately realized this is probably the best insect deck I've ever seen in terms of personally for me. So without further ado, here's my deck profile of Battle Wasps. So first off, we start off with 3 Pin the Bullseye. Now, Pin the Bullseye has a simple effect where if you control an insect monster, you can special summon him from your hand, and then during your main phase, you can inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each Battlewasp Pin the Bullseye you control on your side of the field. Both of these are hard once per turns, but basically he's not only a free special summon for a link play, but he's also a free special summon for one more level onto a synchro play potentially. Next up for the deck, I'm playing 3 Battlewasp Dart the Hunter. He's another level 1 for the deck, and he's actually like a hand trap in a way. When your Battlewasp monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle that's owned by your opponent, you can discard Dart the Hunter to the graveyard in order to inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. So basically it's kind of like he gives all of your Battlewasps Elemental Hero Flame Wingman effect. And if he's on your side of the field, you can target one other insect monster you control, and it's treated as a tuner, but you can't special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except insect monsters. That's important because honestly, Battle Wasps have some pretty decently strong effects, such as that where he can make like any insect a tuner, but multiple cards in the deck have restrictions to where you can only special summon insects from your extra deck, which we mitigate that by of course playing a lot of insects in the extra deck. Next up, we have 3 Battle Wasps Sting the Poison. If he's normal or special summoned, you can add a Battle Wasp monster from your deck to your hand. So he's the searcher of the deck, and of course, sadly, he cannot search himself. He also has a quick effect where you contribute one other insect monster you control, then target an effect monster your opponent control and negate its effects until the end of that turn. And most importantly as well, he's a tuner. He's a level 2 tuner for the deck. Next up for the level 3 of the deck, we have Twinbow the Attacker. Now, during your main phase, you can special summon him from your hand, but you, again, like I mentioned, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except insect monsters. And you can only use the effect of this once per turn, but you can make a second attack with Twinbow each battle phase. So that's kind of interesting. Granted, he only has 1,000 attack. He's basically a free special summon from your hand for both link plays as well as, of course, synchro plays. For the level 4 of the deck, we have Arbalest, the Rapid Fire. Now, when he's normal summoned, you can target a level 3 or lower insect monster in your graveyard and special summon that monster in defense position. And if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon one Battle Wasp monster from your hand or deck. So he's basically a really good extender because if you summon him, you can special summon out our tuner from the graveyard and go into a level 6 synchro, or you can special summon any insect from the graveyard that's level 3 or lower to make a link play, and then if you don't use him for that and he's destroyed somehow, he replaces himself from the deck, so that's definitely good. Next up, I will tell you, a lot of people play the Speedroid engine in this deck, so the Terror Tops and Takatomborgs and stuff, but for me personally, I'm just running the Wind Witch engine, which is 3 Ice Bell. If you control no monsters, you special summon out Ice Bell, and then you can special summon out one more Wind Witch from your deck, which is one of the 2 Glass Bell we run in the deck. And when Glass Bell is special summoned, you can search a Wind Witch from your deck to your hand, which would be Snowbell, which then you special summon out Snowbell. And when you have all 3 of these cards on your field, you can make these a level 7 synchro and then add this to it to make a single card end up become a Crystal Ring Synchro Dragon with the ability to not be targeted by card effects because of Snowbell here. Ultimately, this is a very good engine for the deck. This combo ends up restricting you to only being able to summon wind monsters, or I believe special summon wind monsters for the rest of that turn, but all of the Battlewasps are wind attribute, and all of the extra deck is wind attribute as well, so that doesn't really harm us at all in this deck in particular. A spicy option I run, since we are playing quite a few tuners with the Wind Witches as well as the tuner for the Battlewasps, I play 3 Pilica, Descendant of Gusto, and when it's normal or special summoned, she can target 1 Wind Tuner in your graveyard and special summon that target in face-up defense position. Its effects are negated, and if you activated this effect, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except wind monsters. But like I said, everything's wind in this deck, so Pilica is just an extender to help you get to more synchro plays, or even link plays, since we are playing wind links in the deck. And with the Pilica, before I move on to the rest of the spells and traps, I just want to say we do play the 1 emergency teleport to special summon her right out from the deck. Now on to the rest of the spells and traps. If you can think of any better draw engine for the deck, please let me know. For now, I'm just using 3 Hand Destruction. Though it's not the most competitively viable option, Hand Destruction is good in this deck in particular because Battlewasps have quite a few cards that special summon themselves out from the graveyard. So if you send Battlewasps from your hand to the graveyard, you'll more than likely be able to get them back. First off, you can do that by using one of the 3 copies of Revival Swarm, which you can target 1 Battlewasp monster in your graveyard and special summon it, and you can banish Revival Swarm from your graveyard and target 1 insect monster you control, and it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects until the end of this turn. So basically, it's a monster reborn as well as a protection for your Battlewasps. So this is just one of the ways you can get them back out from the graveyard. Additionally, we also have Summoning Swarm, which in a sense is kind of like a weakened down in archetype Soul Charge, which is currently banned, so this is actually pretty good. You can target level 4 or lower Battlewasp monsters in your graveyard up to the number of monsters your opponent controls, and you special summon them. You can only activate, of course, Summoning Swarm once per turn, and you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except insect monsters for that turn, again with that restriction of insect monsters. Another slightly same reasoning behind it draw thing I have is Card Destruction. And then for more generic support towards pumping the graveyard full of Battlewasps to summon back out, I have the 1 Foolish Burial. I have the 1 1-for-1 since we are running 6 level 1 monsters in the deck and they are all pretty decent. 1 Monster Reborn for more recursion. And these final 2 cards, again, let me know if you can think of anything better. I'm just playing 2 Gozen Match. Honestly, this deck isn't too stunny. I just think it helps slow down certain matchups so that way Battlewasps can go off on their plays a little better. Now on to the extra deck. For the Link monsters, first off, I play 2 Greatfly. Greatfly is such a perfect card in my opinion for this deck because not only does he have very good arrows with the bottom left and bottom right, but he's wind attribute and insect, which literally, if you were to make a Link monster specific for Battlewasps, this basically would be it. Additionally, I do play the Inzektor Picofalena. It does have a draw effect where if you can target 3 insect monsters in your graveyard and shuffle them into the deck to draw a card. That's actually pretty decent in this deck because we do pump the graveyard full of Battlewasps quite frequently. But for the most part, Greatfly is the number 1 Link monster to go into because it's insect and wind. And even though Picofalena is insect, it's dark attribute, so sometimes like certain cards may restrict us into the wind attribute, and that wouldn't be the best option. Additionally, for just some more wind Link monsters, I play the 1 Win, the Wind Charmer Verdant, and then the 1 High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter. Now, I know I said I wasn't playing Speedroids in this deck, in the main deck anyway, but the good thing about Rubber Band Shooter is it takes 2 wind monsters, and during your main phase, immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon 1 wind monster. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except synchro monsters. Not only does he have the good arrows that I like so much, but he gives you an additional normal summon for a wind monster that you are only playing wind monsters in your main deck, and then you are restricted into synchro monsters, which you're playing only these links and then synchro monsters. It's definitely very good in this deck. He does have more effects, which work good with Speedroids, of course, and if you want to play a more Speedroid variant, by all means go for it. I just didn't have any Speedroid cards on hand, so I decided to make do with what I had, and it's been giving some pretty good results, to be honest. Now, on to the actual Battlewasp Synchro monsters. I play 2 Azusa the Ghost Bow. Now, Azusa is level 5, and she takes 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters, and when your opponent takes effect damage from another Battlewasp monster, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of that Battlewasp monster that inflicted damage to your opponent. And you can only, of course, use this effect of Azusa once per turn, or else it would just like loop over and over again. And when a monster is destroyed by battle with your Battlewasp monsters, when he's in your graveyard, you can special summon him out onto the field in defense position, but then he's banished when he leaves the field the next time. He's definitely a good extender and is also good while he's on the field by himself, and he's also a synchro tuner, so he can actually help you go up to bigger and better plays. Next up, I play the level 6 Synchro Monster, Halberd the Charge. For some reason, he's the only Battlewasp Synchro that requires specifically an Insect Tuner. But basically, once per battle during the damage calculation, if he attacks a monster with higher attack than him, you can have that opponent's monster's attack for that damage step. And then if he inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you burn your opponent for 200 damage for each Battlewasp monster you control. So he's pretty decent, to be honest. He's relatively situational in a sense, but definitely just the one to stay on brand with the rest of the deck, if anything else. Next up, I play 2 of the level 8 and what I consider to be the boss monster of Battlewasp is Hama the Conquering Bow. Now, he takes 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters, but if he synchro summon using a synchro monster as a material, he can attack during each battle phase twice. And then you can only use each of his following effects once per turn. And when he inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can make all monsters your opponent controls lose 1,000 attack and defense. And during the end of your battle phase, if your opponent has not taken any battle damage this turn, you can inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each Battlewasp monster in the graveyard. Now, not only does he have a pretty decent 2,800 attack, but honestly, I just like him because he can be summoned out using the Wind Witch engine, so that way he can be kind of immune as well to certain things, which definitely helps out a lot. I do play 1 Ballista, the Armageddon. He's the actual boss monster of the deck, but honestly, I don't really like him too much, to be honest. He is level 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and he takes 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuner monsters. And if he's special summoned, you can banish all insect monsters from your graveyard, and all monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense for each monster banished. And then he also inflicts piercing damage, and then if his synchro summon self is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon 3 of your banished level 11 or lower insect monsters. So he does recur himself, but since he has to be destroyed by an opponent's card, it's honestly not that good, and it's quite situational. Some more generic stuff I run in the deck that's wind is 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon, 1 Stardust Dragon, 1 Wind Witch Winterbell, and then 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So thank you guys so much for watching this deck profile. Like I said, Battlewasps are actually very fun to play. I like the strategy they implement, and honestly, overall, it's just a very good and interesting and fun deck, and I highly recommend it for anyone to pick up. Personally, for me, and I believe it's the same right now, but on release, I got this entire deck core, not including the extra stuff, but literally 3 copies of every single Battlewasp card in the TCG for $9 even from the same seller on TCG Player, just purchasing 3 of every card. So it's definitely worth a bang for your buck, and I highly recommend picking it up. Thank you so much for watching. I'm JC Theater Yu-Gi-Oh! See ya!